You're always moving in the direction of your mind's most dominant thoughts. So think about what you think about.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand, a podcast where we take a look behind the brands and the businesses that we know and love. We believe that behind every great business, behind every great brand is a great story, a great person. So I'm excited to introduce you to my guest today, and that is Steve Briggs, or Steven. Do you prefer Steve or Steven?
Either way.
Either way.
Yep,
I always call him Steve. Steve Briggs with the Coaching for Me. And we're going to talk about what he does today. And he has a lot of great information and he has a lot of great tools that I think will be a lot of help to you, our listeners. So I'm excited to introduce him. So Steve, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's great to be here with you.
We had a little scheduling conflict last time. We had to reschedule. I'm glad we were able to make it happen. I do apologize for that, but thank you for your understanding. We ran a Mr. Owasso campaign that basically took all the juice out of us for about 6 weeks, 5 weeks. And but I'm glad we're back in the studio today. Before we dive into you, why don't you tell into your business, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. And so I own the Coaching for Me, which, I work with business owners, sales professionals, managers and their teams, just really helping them create, their goals, their changing their mindset, taking intentional action, and just having accountability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team,
So tell us about kind of a little bit about, your background and where you started all this. So you're from the Grand Blanc area. Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I am from the Grand Blanc area. I spent a little bit of time in Fenton also. That's where I graduated from, is in Fenton. But my background really, funny enough, when I got into, at least in the business world and the professional world, I started out in the IT industry.
Okay.
And so I really have a graphic, web IT background and stuff. So, but I've always had this interest in the coaching world and the personal development world. Had my first taste of personal development books when I was 18 years old. And so from there, it's just like...
What was your first one?
The first book I ever read was How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty. But that book did nothing for me. It was the next book called The Magic of Thinking Big that really sparked something in me.
I don't think I have either of those. I'm a big book guy. I don't think I have either of those. But if you recommend the second one, I'll have to go check it out. So yeah, I mean, IT, that's kind of where I met Steve. We were members of the Networking Now group in Fenton. And Steve's the guy that makes sure everyone's presentations work and that the slides are going, that the music is there. Also at the Grand Blanc Chamber, you help with that stuff as well. And I know what it's like to be the IT guy when the speaker's tweaking out or the video's not playing. Everyone's looking at you and it's all kind of pressure, but you always handle it really, really well. So what kind of made you take the leap from IT? Well, first of all, how long did you do IT?
Probably around 2000... Well, a little bit before 2004, but I sparked out on my own in 2010, and then I was doing that for a few years. So I'm still supporting some of those customers, but I'm not actively trying to build that business right now. I'm really, building the coaching business. But I had read so many books in personal development and leadership, and stuff like that. It's like, I just need to pull the trigger on this thing.
Yeah.
And so around 2000, probably 17 or 18 at the latest, I officially
said, I'm going to do
started. I'm just doing it. And so I had a choice going into one of our networking groups. I said I could either come in as the IT guy or the coach. And so I came in as the coach. And it was funny because I had to take this time of helping people see that, no, I'm not the IT guy anymore. I'm the coach.
Yeah.
And they actually see it. They said, man, I can't even, you're not even the same person you were.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is a big transition. I mean, I went from hotels to this, and it was years, and still people kind of think, of me as like a hospitality guy and a hotel guy, and, people who don't follow closely. I put enough out there on social media that if you're following, you kind of know what's going on. So, you said you really became interested in the coaching kind of what it did for you in your life, right when you're around 18. And there's a lot of great authors out there that write great books about, self-help and how to be better business owner, better person, better husband, better, all those things. Who's your favorite author? Who do you like to read the most?
Well, I've read a lot of John Maxwell. I've read a lot of Tony Robbins stuff.
Yeah.
There's pieces of it that I'll take and, some stuff that I'll leave, but there are so many books out there. I did just recently posted something about uh, my top 10. I probably won't be able to remember them on the top of my head, but in there, though, those books, because I'm really big
I
on
think I saw
mindset.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really big on mindset over strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy is great, but you can have all the strategy in the world, and if you don't have the right mindset, behind that
Yeah.
strategy, it's not going to hold. So,
No, I was just talking about that this morning. I made a little video just talking about like, it was yesterday. I said people are addicted to easy.
yes,
And
I've seen
easy
that.
is the reason people's lives stay hard. And
Yep.
it really is. I mean, you can have a goal. Everybody wants to like be a successful person or, be in shape or whatever. But very few people I've learned in my career, and I've been working around high level business professionals for, the better part of 20, 25 years. And what I've learned is a large majority of people are really not willing to take the extra steps
Yep.
that are necessary to really accomplish something, to really win. And they could have talent, they could have even a little bit of drive,
Yep.
they could have ambition, they can have goals. But then when it comes down to like that consistency and doing it every day, and life is not about hitting a home run every day. It's about hitting a bunch of singles
Yep.
that over time lead to runs on the board. And I think people get fatigued, people get self-doubt, they get, including myself.
Yeah.
Like it's hard. Like the most successes I've had in my life are when I just put my head down and said, I got a goal, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do all the difficult things along the way.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people get scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
Maybe they're scared of their own limitations, their own fears. Maybe it's their fear of uh, public speaking or their
Right.
fear of failure or whatever it is, and they get stuck in that. And my mom used to say, and if you've ever watched the podcast, you hear me say at the end, you can't and never could until you tried. And
Yeah.
my mom always just kind of beat that into me. So I kind of love to try things. And there are things that I try, and after a while, I'm like, nah.
Hmm.
But then I think what it really means to try is not just to dip your toes in the water. Like try means
Right.
go all in.
Yeah. There's something to be said about what I call mastering the mundane. It's something I learned a long time ago. Those, little, small, insignificant in the moment, seemingly things that you consistently do over time that create a compound effect, if you will, over 3, 5 years, whatever. But one of my mantras, my main mantra that I say every single day, and you've probably heard me say this, is that you're always moving
Yeah.
in the direction of your mind's most dominant thoughts.
Yep.
And so I ask people, what think about what you think about. Are your thoughts empowering you to become more, or are they holding you back?
Yeah. That's
So,
a huge thing. And I think too, I think social media has made patience a very difficult thing for people.
yeah,
Because I think, there have been enough overnight successes on social media that had this great viral video and all of a sudden they're a celebrity. And there's been enough of them for people to think that could be me.
yeah,
And that is so incredibly rare.
right,
Even though there's, even if you think about celebrities in the world, how many are there? Are there
right,
500 celebrities, 1,000 celebrities in the billions of people? So I mean, that type of fame or overnight success is so rare, and I think you have so many people out there hoping for that. And they're like, I made videos every day for 3 weeks, and it didn't. It just I must not be, and it hinders them from having the patience. And the truth is, and you know this, the overwhelming majority of successful people, like truly successful people, have years and years and years, decades of just failure and trying again and putting in the work and consistency and before they finally hit that,
yeah,
maybe they have that day or that week or that month or that one client, that thing that changed it all. But what people don't often see is the tremendous amount of work and mindset and
yep,
things that went into that beforehand. And
yeah,
I think people they can get very lost in the world of social media by having these unrealistic
yeah,
ideas. And
yeah.
so
What I had to learn is that you had to fall in love with the process.
yeah,
Quit looking. There's that end goal. Sure, you're going to set the date and try to get there, but quit always thinking about, oh, I got to be there tomorrow. I got to be there tomorrow. And just fall in love with the process of
yep,
getting there, because that's part of mastering the mundane. That's part of that compound effect of doing those small things just daily, day in, day out,
yeah.
to get to that end goal.
Well, and I think I'm a big vision guy. I think living life with vision, you know,
Yep.
knowing where you're going helps every day make sense. right? And so like if you know like 5 years from now I want to be here, or 10 years from now I want to be here.
Right.
I typically am working on some sort of either a 5 or 10 year vision. And it changes all the time. And that's okay. I think it's important for people to understand like your vision can
Yep.
change or adapt. But when you're working towards something, everybody watching, you should always be working towards something.
Yes.
Always. And if you're working towards something, that makes the daily tasks and the daily consistency and the daily mindset, it makes it make more sense. It doesn't seem for
Yeah.
naught.
Especially when you take the time to really gain clarity around what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
The more that you understand the why and gaining clarity around that, the more the how is going to reveal itself.
Agreed. I don't know if you, when you walk in, you see a big canvas on the wall that says, "Remember why you started."
Yeah.
And that was the first thing I ever put in my office. I designed it and put it in my first office because, in business, you can be presented opportunities all the time that even sometimes might seem like they might be lucrative or, but it can take your business or yourself in a place you never wanted to go. And if you don't keep your eyes on why you started the thing that you're doing, whatever that is,
Right.
and take your eyes off that vision, then you can get lost in it. All of a sudden, your business can become this thing that you never wanted it to be. It can be this thing that dominates your life, or your family can become that. Your hobbies can become that. Whatever it is,
Right.
so you got to have that why. I think that's very important. So, what's the main thing you want people to know about your business?
Yeah. Just that, I've been in the customer service industry, just being in the computer support industry, but I was a help, part of the help desk,
Yeah,
you know, person. And so I
that'll teach you
understand
patience.
what's that?
That will teach you patience.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what I understand is that people don't care how much you know
Yeah,
until they know how much you care.
yeah, I love that
And
saying.
that's one of the biggest things that I realized, being in those positions. And so my biggest thing is that I know where I was at. I know how I grew up, and the things that where my thoughts had taken me. And I'm like, that takes so much, time and patience. I mean, how long did it take you to get to where you're at? So how long is it going to, are you going to be able to change that? How long
Yeah.
is it going to take? That's up to you, really. How
Yeah.
much time are you going to put into changing your thoughts, actually thinking about what you're thinking about,
Yeah.
becoming self-aware.
Yep.
That's a huge part of it.
I had this conversation with someone at the gym the other day about, losing weight.
Yeah.
And, I had gotten up to 325 pounds.
Okay.
And, I don't know what I am now because I decided to stop stepping on the scale about 2, 3 months ago because I want to see results in different ways on how I feel and the way
Yep.
my clothes fit and all those things. But I was saying, like, I didn't get to 325 pounds overnight.
Right.
It took years and years of neglect and stress and overeating and not being disciplined and not going to the gym. So to think that I'm going to shed that weight in 30 days or 60 days, it doesn't happen.
Right.
And so that's where I think, again, with even something as simple as that, people get discouraged because they're like, man, I worked out every day this week. I ate right and I only lost 2 pounds. And I get it. Like that can feel discouraging.
Yeah.
But, results on both sides don't happen overnight.
Yeah, and there's a compound effect no matter what, whether it's for the good side or for the bad side.
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody told you that you were going to die tomorrow if you ate a cheeseburger today,
Yeah.
would you do it, right?
Right.
But we're not told that. So, there's the compound effect of that, but then there's the compound effect of maybe like reading 10 minutes of a great book,
Yeah.
every day.
100%.
So,
I always tell people when people come to us, like, I have this business idea. I want to start a business. And my first question is always, what problem are you solving in the marketplace?
Okay.
Because I think that, in order to start a business successfully, I mean, almost 90% of them fail. And usually I think it's like 75% of them fail in the first 2 years,
yeah,
which means, that could be a lot of things of why that happens. But I know to run a business, it takes an incredible amount of tenacity and an incredible amount of, again, vision and not giving up. But I think you could have this great idea or this great product, this great service, but does it solve a problem in the marketplace you're trying to do business in?
right.
So I always ask people, what problem is your business solving in the marketplace? So, one of the things I like to ask my guests that question is, with this business, like, what problem are you trying to solve in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people like see themselves or think of themselves as a leader, because they're the top person or whatever on the tier, but they might not necessarily have the people skills, to lead people well,
Right.
because again, people don't always care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yep.
And so trying to get into that realm, I think a lot of leaders are struggling because they have a lot of self-doubt and, beliefs themselves that are holding them back. And so
Yeah.
now they're trying to feed into somebody else, either in a forceful way, and not necessarily in a constructive way. And so I feel like I help get in there and get the teams, collaborating better together, helping with people that have limiting beliefs that have been holding them back forever, understanding that, and then just again, wrapping themselves around the process of what
Yeah.
they're trying to accomplish.
I think that is such a key, Steve. I think, I've met so many business owners that had just this incredible talent or this incredible thing that they invented or made or this great service that they can offer, and so talented, way more talented than me at something. I mean, just
Right.
but then they turn it into a business. It goes from like a hobby or this thing they did at a farmer's market or on the side or like did a couple gigs, and all of a sudden they turn it into a business and they have a little success and the business grows. So then they quit their job and it
Mhm.
becomes like a real business. And then they get to the point where they have to hire people.
Yeah.
And this is where a lot of businesses really start to go from like uphill. Then all of a sudden they start to see this big dip. And it's because of they can be great at something and not be a leader.
Yeah.
And although leadership skills can be developed
Right.
and honed and crafted over time, and they should be, uh, the ability to lead people is a unique skill set. It's not something that everybody has.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's something that everyone can get better at. But some people are just not meant to be leaders. And so this is why I think that if you're listening, you're a business owner and like you're at this place now where all of a sudden the business has grown and you have employees and you're struggling. You can't get the right amount of work out of your employees. You can't create the happy environment that you want. Your employees aren't taking care of the customers the way that you would, or whatever the case might be. They need leadership.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend that either you start reading some books or reach out to a guy like Steve and get that coaching, because just as important as you have those great products on the shelf are, or that you have a great social media presence, or that you have a great website, like all of these things you have to be a good, successful business owner, good prices. You got to have good lead. If you have employees, you have to have leadership within your organization. A lot
Yeah.
of high level business owners end up hiring CEOs
Yeah.
because they realize they're not a great leader of
Yeah.
people. And I think where a lot of business owners get lost is they just they I don't know that they even realize it. They struggle to bring people along. So is that something you come across commonly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a big difference between being a manager and being a leader.
100%.
And something I learned from John Maxwell actually a long time ago is that, a leader is somebody that they know the way, they go the way, but they also show the way. So
Yeah,
they're pulling people along with them
yeah.
at the same time. They're
And,
not just, enforcing their whatever will on them.
well, and a big thing that Maxwell says is leadership is influence,
Yeah.
right? And so um, influence is earned,
Yep.
it's gained over time.
That's right.
And positional leadership will only get you so far. When you come in and people, you're the one that interviews, you're the one that hires, people see you as the boss, the
Yeah.
person in charge. But that type of respect only lasts for a couple weeks
Yep.
until they realize like this guy's always late, or this person's
Yeah.
irresponsible, or this person's moody, they're up and down all the time. They're always at my
They're looking for patterns.
exactly.
Yeah, people don't really always they'll initially look at what you say and hear what you say, but eventually they're going to actually pay attention to what you do.
Yeah.
And so we're influencing people all of the time.
Yep.
We might not even be meaning to, might not want to, but we are just by our actions.
Yeah. And
so,
you've heard Steve say a couple times a quote that I love. I say it too. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you're in that position today where you're like, man, I have employees and I'm struggling to manage them or lead them, I guess lead would be the better word. But I can't afford to hire Steve, or I don't know, I'm not a good reader or whatever. Well, number one, if you're not a good reader, just read a page a day or a couple of get audiobooks. I love audiobooks. It really helps me because I'm an audible learner better than I'm visual. I read every day. I have, something going into my mind that's going to help me grow every day on top of reading my Bible. But I would say this, if you're in that spot and you're like, I don't have the ability to hire, start with that mentality. People don't care how much I know until they know how much I care. Just start caring for your people.
Yeah.
Don't see your employees as, employee number 3, employee number 2, or this is their job description. Like, see them as humans that are helping you fulfill your dreams, and show them gratitude and appreciation, and do things for them, and pay them a good wage. If you pay your employees minimum wage, like, I don't want any of my employees to ever think minimum is acceptable. But so many employers pay their employees minimum wage, which would tell me the minimum amount is expected.
Yeah.
Even if you pay them 50 cents more, to let them know, like, hey, you're worth more than the minimum, and I expect more than the minimum. And I know we're all on limited funds here, and we can't just pay everyone $50,000, $100,000 a year. But if you just start with the mindset of, I want my people to know that I care about them, that will go so far.
Right.
And I just
Absolutely.
recently, I don't remember who it was that did a study of, like, they interviewed 100 managers and then 100 employees. What are the top? They gave them 10 things. List these in order, the top 10 things that motivate you. And the 98% of the managers put number 1 was money.
Hmm.
And that was like number 5 or 6 on the employees. Number 1 was recognition for a job well done. Number 2 was being appreciated.
Yeah.
Number 3 was a good environment. Like, those things go a long way. And that's where a leader has to recognize, like, my job is not just to crack the whip, but my job is to, like, let these people know I care about them. And if you don't care about your people, then there's a mindset shift that needs to happen in you.
Absolutely.
Like, you need to be grateful for them.
Today's episode is brought to you by AZ Branding Agency, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. If your business is great but nobody knows it, you don't have a marketing problem, you've got a branding problem. At AZ, we help you stand out with bold branding by creating websites, social media, video, and photography that actually gets noticed. Because attention is the #1 currency in business, and your brand deserves more of it. Learn more at azeebranding.com, and let's get your brand the attention it deserves.
So Steve, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, and maybe they're like, I don't know if I can afford it, I don't know what the cost is, like, they just want to talk to you about what your packages are, like, how do people find out, like, what your packages are, what you offer, what the cost is, all that? Do you do some sort of a consultation at the beginning, or?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, and I'll go ahead and give my information right now. You can call me at 810-683-9555. And then my website is thecoachingforme.com, and it's the number 4. So thecoaching4me.com. I'm on all social medias,
Yep.
with Coaching for Me. And of course, Stephen Briggs, you can find me there. And it's Stephen with a PH. But yeah, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah, so I would say, like, maybe you're in that spot and you just want to talk to someone, call Steve and see if, or reach out to him on social media, and at least have a conversation. And I know Steve well enough to know he's a good guy. He wants to help people. So even if you can't become clients, I'm sure he's going to point you in some directions, whether it be some books or some podcasts or whatever. But find a way to fill your mind every day with something positive, something good. He is absolutely right. Mindset is so much of it.
I would say even if if you just get 0.001% better, over the course of the year, I mean, what is that?
that
That
compounds,
compounds. So
for sure. So, Steve, if you've been doing this, what was a moment where you realized, like, and you started somewhere around 2017, 2018. What was a moment where you realized, like, oh, this could actually be a business? Like,
Yeah.
this could be something that I could use to support myself and my family.
Yeah, I was already listening to some of the great leaders like the Brendan Bouchards out there, the Tony Robbins, all those people. But anyways, the one thing I realized, getting into that, sure, it's still has a huge curve on it as far as success rates and stuff like that, because there's only so many people at the top.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to focus on that, because I knew that where I came from, how I grew up, what my mindset was when I was younger, and the limiting beliefs that I had, that I knew that I could help somebody through those.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's great. And, I wanted to address something you mentioned earlier about, like, when you said you were reading, and there was some, like, you mentioned Maxwell and Tony Robbins. So there's some things that I really like, and there's some things that I just kind of leave off to the side. I think that's very important for people.
Yes.
As you're reading books or listening to podcasts. Number one, almost every book, self-help book, makes you feel like we've discovered the answer, right? And if the answer has been discovered for everyone to be successful, then everyone would be successful. There are principles
Yep.
that are universal that certainly will lead to success. However, a lot of success is based on the individual,
Yeah.
right? And you and your mindset. And so, like, what John Maxwell has achieved is unique to John Maxwell. And so some of the things he writes about maybe would apply more to him than would apply to Steve or
Yeah.
to me or to you.
Yeah.
And so it's important that when you're reading that you're looking for things that resonate with you, that make sense to you, that click. And just because you read one or two things in the book you don't agree with does not make the whole book,
Right.
you know,
Right.
not good.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I've ever read a book front to back that I thought I just agreed with everything other than the Bible.
Right.
I agree with everything in that book. And so, you know, people are like, oh, I don't want to, or people will watch a clip of, you know, Tony Robbins or someone say something, they didn't agree with it. And so then they just write off Tony Robbins or whatever. And
Right.
so, you know, I think that it's just important that you recognize that there are people that have achieved a high level of success.
Right.
And so reading about how they did it or what they
Yeah.
did or some principles, I think it's beneficial. I mean, I read books from athletes that have
Yeah.
achieved high things. I listen to podcasts from comedians that I mean, there's a lot of different ways to achieve success,
Yeah.
and I like to hear what those are.
Yeah, there's something that I learned a while back too that really stuck with me is that methods are many, principles are few. The methods might change, but the principles never do.
Yeah.
So your method of getting to, you know, wherever it is that you're trying to go, the methods to get there might change, but the principles, the underlying principles that you're getting from those kind of books and tapes and whatever it is that you're listening to,
Yeah.
those principles don't change.
You know, one thing that stuck out to me, almost every successful person that I've read, and I would say I've never done like an actual percentage, but I would say 90% or more always talk about some form of getting up early and some daily body movement exercise. And I will tell you, getting up early is something I've always struggled with in my life. I'm not a morning person. I would rather stay up and work till 2, 3 in the morning
Right.
than
Me
get
too,
up
actually.
than get up at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And but man, it kept coming across this, like every successful person I admire, they always have they get up early and they move their body. So I decided back in October, like, all right, I'm going to start getting up at 5:30. I'm going to go to the gym at 6, and I'm going to do that every day. And you know, at the beginning, it was a struggle, real struggle.
Yep.
Just super tired every time you get up and hard to find the energy. You just keep doing it and you keep doing it. And now, you know, 6, 7 months later, you know, I've had great results, and now I look forward to it.
Yeah.
And I do feel like my day starts so much better. Right. And so there's no like law that says if you get up early and work out every day, you're going to be successful. But if you read that almost all these successful people, athletes, entrepreneurs, you know, politicians, businesses, they're all doing this.
Yeah.
There must be something to that.
Yeah.
And so I think I could try that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of it comes from, you know, you can't have a positive life with a negative mind. And
That's
so
right.
if you struggle in that area, you know, making yourself be disciplined, you know, that's part of the process. And so,
yeah, let me see if I can find this. This was another one I shared this morning that I really liked. Said, you don't get stronger by doing what you can.
right.
You get stronger by doing what you thought you couldn't.
There you go.
You know, and he's talked
Love
about that limiting belief, that negative, you know, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. That person is. Just try something that you didn't think you could do.
Right.
Okay, so I want to talk for just a few minutes here. Then we talk a little bit about the business. But here, you know, the episode is behind the brand. And here at AZ, we're big about the brand. We always say, you've heard me say this, if people don't know you, you have a marketing problem. If people don't choose you, you have a branding problem. So the marketing is how you let people know you exist. We're here, we're out here, this is how you get us, this is why we're the best, blah, blah, blah. Those things are important. But once people know you're there and they're still not coming, what am I not doing right? That's where you focus on the brand.
Yeah.
And the brand is the thing that people think when they see your business, when they see your sign, when they see your face. People sometimes think of the brand as the logo or the fonts or the colors, and all those do kind of, that's the visual representation of the brand. Right. I say it this way. Your logo is like the face, right? So if I'm walking through Walmart and I see your face, that's how I go, oh, that's Steve Briggs. That's how I recognize you. But whether or not I walk up to you and say, hey, man, what's going on? Or I go 3 aisles the other way to avoid you, that's your brand.
Yeah.
So people see your logo, and if they're like, oh, I want to go there, I want to talk to them, that's a good brand. If they're like, ooh, I'm avoiding them, that's a bad brand.
Right.
And so building a brand is important, and it's something that people sometimes overlook.
Yep.
And this is why we focus so much on it, because ultimately we all want to be a business that people choose.
Yeah.
Letting people know you exist is kind of easy. It's work, but it's easy. But making people choose you is the hard part,
Right.
right? And so, what do you think are some of the important things that a business should do that builds that trust and that loyalty that make people ultimately want to choose you?
Yeah. And I agree. Going back to what you said, I agree. I thought that your brand was your logo, and there is some truth to that, but ultimately your brand is you.
Yeah.
And so the way that you treat people, the way that you show up, when you say you're gonna, the way that you present yourself, people pay attention to that.
100%.
And so if you want to move forward in your business, that has to be, I think, bigger than the strategy of
Yeah.
doing your business.
Yeah.
It has to be number one. People put it number 2 or number 10 or 30 down the list, and it really needs to be number one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people say location, 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 right?
Right.
And now that would be location, location, location in a Google search, right?
Yeah.
Or location, location, location on Facebook. Like that's all part of it now.
Yeah.
And we 100% preach that those things are important. But there are a lot of businesses that have a prime location, that have a great social media following, that are struggling to get people to choose to do business with them. And so, yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, the way you make people feel, the way you show up, the way you treat people, your perspective. And then, the other thing we talk about a lot is the number one currency in any business or brand is attention. We're doing a podcast right now to get some attention about, not on us necessarily, but like what we do,
Right.
how we can help people. We put up a billboard for some attention. We throw out a social media post for some attention. So there's a lot of things that people do. We always say we believe in an attention strategy over a marketing strategy any day. When we make a post, it's not just to look pretty or to be all, graphically correct, even though those are important. I want to, as people are endlessly scrolling, I want them to stop for a second. I want to grab someone's attention.
Yep.
So, there's a lot of ways to get attention. What are some of the ways that you have found in your business that are the best ways to get attention for your business?
Right. Well, I feel consistency is one of them, but when you have a brand and you do have your logo and all that stuff, even consistency in that, in your post is huge. But to just post, like once a week, once a month or whatever, really is not enough. It's crazy to think about how much time you put into your business that has no monetary benefit really in the beginning, because you're just getting yourself out there. You're just, showing people that you exist. You're just, being consistent. You're helping them see who you are behind the scenes because you do the same thing every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're right at about 32 minutes. So we're doing great. I'm going to go into a section where I'm just going to look for, we have an end where we do say it in 60. You've probably seen that. This is not that yet.
Okay.
But this is kind of a rapid fire. Like we're going to ask some questions and we want to give you some relatively quick answers to kind of, try to glean some wisdom from your years of experience and what you've learned by working with other business owners and what you've learned from other businesses and business owners. So, what's the best business advice you've ever received?
The best business advice I've received, I feel, has been mastering the mundane, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's because we all have different things that we do in our business. So figuring out what those things are and just doing them consistently
100%.
when you don't feel like it, that to me has been huge.
Doing it when you don't feel like it is such an important thing.
Yeah.
I think for me, the times where I don't feel like it are the times where like I have to do this today.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I did not want to get up and go to the gym. I had basketball last night with my boys till 9:30, got home, didn't get into bed till 10:30.
Yeah.
And when the alarm went off at 5:30, I did not want to get up.
Yep.
But that's when I'm like, nope, get up. This is when you have to do it, because when it's easy, it's easy. But like, and missing a day, you tell yourself one time, I'm too tired, and you tell it again, it gets easier and easier to make that excuse. So yeah, I think that's great. What is the biggest branding mistake you think businesses make?
Having a ton of different logos.
Yeah. That is so common in this
Yeah,
world. It's
which is
unbelievable.
amazing to me. So different fonts, different logos, but even bigger than that probably is not doing what you say you're going to do.
Good.
Being consistent with what you say and doing what you say is huge.
Huge. What is one thing every business should do better on social media?
I think don't be salesy all the time.
Yeah.
Be personal.
Yep.
There's a time for, selling something, and there's a time for being personal. I think when people see that you're willing to give without caring about getting anything in return,
Yep.
that's huge.
Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
Do you ever read his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook?
I have not read his book.
It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a social media book, and it's a little dated because he wrote it probably 5 or 6 years ago. So in terms of like the platforms, he might be talking about Twitter when now it's X or whatever, but the principles are there. He says, give, 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 give. That's my right hand, but then the right hook is the ask. He said the problem is people are just out here throwing right hooks like crazy, and you tire out and you tire your people out.
Yep.
And you don't land them. And so the jab is the constant give value, give information, give trust, give, whatever. Like just put it out there. And then don't ask, like make the ask post, like come by for me or 10% off. Like that should be like less than 10% of your social media posts.
Yeah.
What's something you'd do differently if you started all over today?
If I started all over, I think it would be making sure that I was saying yes to the consistency, because that is so easily, like you're saying, trying to make yourself get up in the morning.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you hear, I don't want to today, should be your motivation to say, I better do it then, because something's already trying to creep in.
That's the voice. Yep. Okay. So I know you kind of already did this, but I'm gonna let you do it again. I want you to look right into this camera, and I want you to tell our audience how they can best connect with you.
Yes. Phone number, 810-683-9555. And then website is thecoachingforme4me.com.
Okay.
And then all the social medias
socials, yeah.
at Coaching for Me.
All right, Steve, you got anything else you want to get out before we go into our Say It in 60?
No, just I think I want to reiterate my mantra, because a lot of people miss this. You're always moving in the direction of your mind's most dominant thoughts. So think about what you think about.
I love it when I've heard you say that at the Networking Now. And those little sayings, there's a couple that I say all the time, and my people around here like get tired of me saying it. But those are the little sayings that stick in someone's mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. So, okay, well, we're going to do this game called Say It in 60, where we got 60 seconds to glean the last ounces of wisdom and knowledge out of Steve Briggs. We're going to do 10 rapid fire questions. If you get them all in 60 seconds, then you get just to brag that you did it. I think from the networking group, Dr. Sandy has the best time. Is that right, Micah? I think it's Dr. Sandy. I think she did it in 39 seconds or something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, it's you can just go brag to her if you do it better than that. So we need quick answers. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Micah, do you have a timer? All right, here we go. The timer starts now. What is your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby, I love actually to go four-wheeling.
Favorite place you've ever been?
Right now, I think the Lake Inn is topping the charts in Lapeer. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
Very good.
Favorite food?
Favorite food is probably Mexican. Yes.
A must-read book?
I would say read that Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz.
Favorite podcast?
I can't remember the guy's name, but I tend to listen to people that are coaches like me, just to, so I would say whatever your industry is, learn more about that, because not only do you need to do mindset, but you need to do that.
A daily habit everyone should do?
Reading.
A TV series worth binge watching?
I like Madam Secretary.
What can help your, we're out of time. 10 seconds. What will help your brand grow more, video or photography?
Video.
Great website or great social media?
Social media, for sure.
Last question. What does success mean to you?
It's relative for everybody, but I would say family, relationship.
All right. Did we do it? Okay. Hey, that's all right. We got it
I
all
didn't
out
think
there.
I was going to get
That's
it.
all right.
When I started saying more than 2 words, I didn't think I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
get
tough. It's tough. Actually, they did it with me. And I've done this game with so many people, and I didn't even come close. I can't say things in a few words, apparently. I did want to go back to your answer about a favorite podcast because I thought that was a really good answer. If you're looking for a podcast, find an industry-specific podcast. Like, especially if you're a business owner.
Yes.
There are podcasts for everything. If you sell beeswax, I guarantee you there's someone out there doing a podcast about beeswax. I mean, they just are. They're endless. And so it's great to hear from other people that are trying to do what you're doing. Because listen, owning a business, we're all out here just trying.
Right.
Even if you have a degree in business development management, whatever, you have an MBA, you're still figuring it out every day. There's no, like I said, there's no magic button that if I do this, then all of this will happen. Like I said, there are universal principles, but every day we're just figuring it out and we're getting back up. And I think the ones that make it are the ones that just refuse to quit. But it does help to hear from other people who are in it, who are figuring it out, or who have already figured something out that might help you, that might save you some missteps. So like I said, whether it's listening to an audiobook, physically reading a book, listening to a podcast, reading some blog articles, find some way every day to put something in your brain that's going to set your mind in a better place and help move you forward. There's such a value. And for years and years and years, I struggled to read. When audiobooks became a thing, it was the greatest thing that ever happened for me, because I could sit and listen to an audiobook for hours. But if I sit down with physical pages, I have a short attention span, and I'll read something that stuck out to me, and my mind will start wandering on it. And next thing I know, I'm 3 pages in, and I'm like, I don't even remember anything I just read. I'm still back on page 17. So you got to know yourself.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately you hear, knowledge is power, but the truth is it's knowledge without application.
Yeah.
If you don't apply that knowledge,
that's it.
Then
I had someone tell me the other day, oh, this is probably a couple weeks ago, but audiobooks, that's not reading. And I'm like, okay. That's fine.
I'd say listen to audiobooks, but read also, because there's something about when you're reading that's different than, you're more engaged, I believe, when you're actually reading than when you're just listening.
Sure. Well, and like I said, I think everyone is unique and individual, and you have to do something that is going to work for you.
Yeah.
And, but do something. Something. So, well, Steve, thank you for coming on the show today, man. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. And, listen, I've gotten to know Steve over the last, year and a half, 2 years probably. And every interaction has been great, very positive, very upbeat guy, very friendly. There's been multiple times where I had to have a slide and I give it to him last minute, and he's just no problem, gets it taken care of for me with a smile. So I highly recommend Steve. He's a good guy. If you're in a position where you got a business, or you're leading something, maybe you have some people you're trying to lead at your church, or in a civic organization, a PTA, whatever, but you're just like struggling to lead, reach out to Steve. And like I said, I think whether he does some coaching for you or can point you in the direction of some things that will help you, it will be a great interaction. I highly recommend it. So again, Steve, thanks for coming on. You've been a great guest.
Yeah, this is great. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Well, thank you all for watching. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We want to connect with you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what guests you want us to have on the podcast. Follow us on social media for more branding insights, and thanks for watching Behind the Brand.